general elections. Up next, the other contender that will be joining us tonight is Honorable Nandala Mafabi. He is currently the opposition figure leading the Front for Democratic Change and is their flag bearer for the 2026 general elections. Please welcome Nathan Nandala Mafabi.
FDC webali muri badembe okwaniriza omukulu ng'atuuka era nga Nathan Nandala Mafabi naye ebyobufuzi yakabitandika yabitandikira ddala mwaka ogwa 2001 gy'abadde nga omubaka wa Parliament okutuukira ddala olwaleero ng'avuganya ku ntebe y'obukulembeze bw'eggwanga. Mukulu yakolako mu URA era akoze emirimu mingi nnyo okutuuka watuusaawo. Ssebo tukwaniriza era tulindiridde okuwuliriza ebirowoozo by'ogenda okutuwamu. Omutwale butereevu ku katuuti Dokita n'amusoyezaawo ebibuuzo.
And just to highlight his education, his A-level education, he attended Busoga College, Miri in Jinja. He also graduated from Makere University in 1988 with a Bachelor of Statistics and Economics. He also followed that with a postgraduate diploma in education, and that was in 1989. And also, that was from Makere. He also obtained a diploma in income tax administration, and that was from the Uganda Management Institute in Kampala. In 1993, he passed the Certified Public Accountant examinations, and that was both in Uganda and Kenya as well. Currently, like we said, he is the presidential flag bearer for the Front for Democratic Change.
Basebone banyabu twanirize General Grigor Mugisha Muntu muna ANT sebo tukwaniriza ku debate ya feno etegekeddwa aba Nation Media Group ekitongole ekitwala NTV, Spark TV, olupapula lw'amawulire olwa Daily Monitor, radio okuli Dembe FM, Sakone KFM. Oyo omukulu oyo yadumirako n'amagye g'eggwanga era y'omu ku bannansi abeetaba obutereevu mu lutalo olw'abanunuzi abaleeta gavumenti ya NRM mu buyinza. Sebo tukwaniriza.
Now, Mugisha Muntu was officially nominated on September 24th, 2025, and is also known for his calm, values-based political approach, and his focus has always been on addressing governance issues. He has also criticized the current government for its failure to convert the country's wealth into prosperity. That is the retired Major General Mugisha Muntu. Thank you for joining us.
Basebone banyabo twanirize Joseph Mabirizi, Elton Joseph Mabirizi naye amaze okutuuka era ngono yavuganyako ne mu kalulu ka 2016 obululu akakiiko k'ebyokulonda ke baamuwa bwana bafunye omukisa n'abutubuulira naye ssebo tukwaniriza ku debate eno etegekeddwa aba Nation Media Group era tulindiridde okulaba ebirowoozo byo ekiro ky'olwaleero.
Elton Joseph Mabirizi is the presidential candidate for the Conservative Party, and that is in the upcoming 2026 general elections. Just like my colleague said, this is his second time contesting as president, and I'm very sure he's not new to these things.
Mu 2016 fe abaaliwo twamuyitanga Mabirizi.
Mabirizi.
Obago waliridda wa 2016 waliridda wakalwa kukakusanga.
I was still very much around, by the way. I remember his name trending as Mabirizi, and I think it's a cool name. We like presidential candidates that are actually relatable.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which class were you?
2016, I was already at campus. I was already doing my university degree.
I think guys out there, they are now...
I'm old enough.
Tuyazege tulindirira omukulu Joseph Elton Mabirizi okubanga naye ayingira atwale ekifo kye nga bwe twongera okweteekateeka.
All right, as we wait for Joseph Elton Mabirizi to come through, the other contender that's going to be joining us tonight is Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. He's also known as Bobby Wine. He's a politician. He's also the president of the National Unity Platform, a former musician. He's an actor. He's a businessman. And he transitioned to politics and gained prominence as a critic of the president, that is Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
Omukulu ono gwe tuleeta yaliko omuyimbi. Era ebiseera we yabeerera omuyimbi yayitibwanga Ghetto Gladiator era yayitibwanga Ghetto President. Simanyi oba kye kikyali ekifo kye naye tujja kuba nga tumufuna. Ntegeezeddwa nti Mabirizi naye atuuse. Ssebo Elton Joseph Mabirizi, presidential candidate owa Conservative Party, ssebo tukwaniriza obwedde ensi yakulindiridde dda ate olina ekyafaayo ekyobudde abaaliwo mu 2016 abamu babadde batandise okweraliikirira.
That is Elton Joseph Mabirizi, the presidential candidate for the Conservative Party in the 2026 elections. He's doing it again as he's also joined by the party chairman, John Ken Luchamzi, and a nice delegation.
The man.
Conservative Party is in the house, officially.
The man. The man.
All right, Conservative Party is in the house. And now let's move forward to our final candidate of the night. That is Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. He is the presidential flag bearer for the 2026 general elections on the ticket of the National Unity Platform. Please join us and welcome Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi.
Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu bw'atuuka tubategeezezza nti yaliko mu kisaawe eky'okuyimba era nakati akyakirimu. Nyimba empya zikyajja nnyingi nnyo tutera okuziwulira weewaawo tezizannyika ku TV bannange munaatusonyiwa muyinza okuzitubanja.
But his political journey actually started in 2017 to 2021 when he represented Chadondo County East, that is in the Parliament of Uganda. There were some things that happened there, so we won't dwell on that. All we know is that he leads the People Power, the Power Movement, and it has been a major opposition force. And he also ran for president in 2021, and he's here to do it again next year.
Kale tulinze Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu atambula n'omulamwa ogw'okugamba nti aleeta Uganda empya ne kkooti y'abantu. Ebyo bye bimu ku bigambo byasinga okutambulirako. Naye abamuleeta oba bamulaze ekkubo kyamu ndaba tavaayo.
Aja is coming.
Tuyinza okwogera ebingi ne twokya. Kale ye Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu abasinga obungi gwe bamanyi nga Bobi Wine, president w'ekibiina ki National Unity Platform. Amukulembedde ye Mildred Bedun asoma amawulire ga NTV Weekend Edition. Kumaganya ebirowoozo twakutegeezezza nti abamu ku abo bagenda okulemberamu ku lwa NTV ba presidential candidates bano njagala tububanjulire basobole okubategeera obulungi. Abagenda okulemberamu debate eno ku lwa NTV tulinako Priscilla Regina Nalwoga, abamu ku mmwe abali awo ku podium yali abakyazizzaako, ye presenter owa program ya Morning at NTV. Programu yebeerawo buli lunaku okuva ku Monday paka ku lunaku olwokutaano. Ye Priscilla Regina Nalwoga omu ku bannamawulire abagondedde obulungi mu mulimu guno.
And seated next to her is Arnold Segawa. He is a doctor, a monetarist, and a central bank scholar as well. He has also been in the newsroom for quite some time, so he's well versed with that field as well. He's going to be our moderator as well for the presidential debate as we gear up for the 2026 general elections.
A presidential candidate kanyimirire wano musobole okundaba.
Go to My Airtel app, tap on the Airtel Money slab, enter your PIN, tap on the Airtel Money Pay icon, enter the match.
Over to you, Arnold and Priscilla.
Good evening, Uganda, and to all watching us across the world. It is 8:34 in Kampala and midday 34 in Washington, D.C. I know there are very many people who are eager to hear, especially in the diaspora, what all of you have to offer us as presidential candidates, and we're looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Tonight, live from Kampala, NTV and Spark TV bring you a defining moment in our nation's democratic journey. The NTV Presidential Debate 2025, the race for 2026. I'm Dr. Arnold Sagawa, together with Priscilla Regina Nalwoga.
Good evening to you, Uganda, and good evening to you, our candidates. Our candidates, how are you? Pressure. Pressure. Let's turn on those microphones and just hear your voices so that we know you're the one. I will start with the General. General, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
We are fine.
You are fine.
I trust you are fine too.
Ah, that's wonderful to hear. A round of applause for him. Mr. Robert Chagulanyi.
Mic check, 1, 2.
1, 2, check. It's a pleasure to have you. Good evening.
It's a pleasure for me to be here. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, our dear moderators. Good evening, fellow candidates.
You are fine.
I trust you are fine too.
Ah, that's wonderful to hear. A round of applause for him. Mr. Robert Chagulanyi.
Mic check, 1, 2.
1, 2, check. It's a pleasure to have you. Good evening.
It's a pleasure for me to be here. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, our dear moderators. Good evening, fellow candidates.
All right. We also do have Honorable Nandala Mafabi. Honorable, good evening.
Good evening, everybody. We look forward for a lively debate.
It's a pleasure to be in your company. A round of applause for him. We also do have Mr. Joseph Mabirizi. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening to all of us.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Ka pressure keko batukendezeko.
I don't have any pressure.
Yeah. That's wonderful to hear. If they're confident, then Uganda should be confident about the next hours to come. And finally, we also do have candidate Frank Bulira. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, dear Ugandans. Good evening, dear Ugandans, and thank you so much, NTV, for this arrangement.
And thank you so much for accepting our invitation and coming through. These are the 5 candidates, 1 state, and of course, 1 country that is watching. Tonight is about ideas. Tonight is about vision, as well as leadership, unfiltered, uncompromising, as well as decisive.
Gentlemen, if you may, some hygiene issues. When you're done speaking through your microphone, kindly switch it off, otherwise we will have feedback. And moving on, the focus tonight is on issues that are shaping the future of this nation. We have infrastructure, ICT and innovation, finance and national development, not forgetting health.
And as duly introduced, our 5 candidates are ready, and they have shown us that they're ready to go. There are 5 voices. However, you and I make up 1 electorate. Every answer tonight is going to be counting, and every commitment is going to be measured.
Joining us tonight on stage, we have Frank Bulira. We're going in alphabetical order from your surname. On my extreme right, Mr. Frank Bulira, thank you. Mr. Candidate Joseph Mabirizi, thank you. Candidate Nathan Nandala Mafabi. In the middle, we have candidate Robert Chagulanyi, and last but not least, on my extreme left, candidate Mugisha Muntu.
Well, tonight marks a very defining moment in our national conversation. Ugandans from across the country, ever since we began this live broadcast, have been talking to us, and they have been telling us some of the things they would like their candidates to actually pinpoint about. And of course, this has been building up to this coverage from our correspondents in Ntv to northern Uganda to Mbarara, to the voices of everyday Muna Uganda, each one of them sharing what they are expecting of you, our candidates, as you get to address them as a nation. Now, a short while ago, we were introduced to the 5 candidates joining us today, and we get to regret that 3 candidates were unable to join us on this stage tonight, with the hope that all 8 will be present at future debates.
Tonight, we will be looking at 5 themes, that is youth unemployment and jobs. 2 is security, governance and justice. 3, technology and the future of work. 4, infrastructure development and the health sector.
Priorities and questions. This is through the community forums, digital platforms, and of course the regional outreach. However, the final selections, the structure, and the sequencing for tonight were made independently of the debate team. So as per the debate rules, neither the candidate that you see on the podium this evening nor anyone on the team have reviewed or influenced these questions.
Without any further ado, let us begin. And this is going to be very brief. In 4 minutes, tell Ugandans why you're the best candidate and to take this big job of being the president, not just having the fancy office. While you're at it, also tell Ugandans what the biggest problem is with the country. Let me start with you, Mr. Bulira. 4 minutes.
Thank you so much. Dear Ugandans, my name is Bulira Frank Kabinga Salongo. I'm the presidential flag bearer for the Revolutionary People's Party, a party which merged with the Uganda Federal Democratic Organization, which was led by the late Dr. Aggrey Kiyingi. I'm here in the footsteps of the late fighter Dr. Aggrey Kiyingi, in the footsteps of our forefathers who fought for federalism, the Nkwangas, the Andrew Takome Kairas, the Dr. Paul Kawanga Semwogereres, the retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besiges. I'm in this race not just to contest ceremoniously. I'm here to contest and deliver our opposition to State House. It has been a process of over 4 decades, and I think this coming election is going to close up each and everything. This is the time that we need to shape our country. There are only 2 big problems of our country, Uganda. Number 1 problem is Mr. Museveni. The second problem is the system of governance. That is why, as the Revolutionary People's Party, we are looking at federalism. Federalism is the way to go, and it is our core. The RPP, we believe that even if Mr. Museveni goes and we have another president and we don't change the system of governance, we shall remain in the same problems. In my first 100 days, that's why I pledge that Uganda is going to go federalist. Bulira Frank Kabinga, I was groomed by the Uganda Young Democrats. I started my politics in Kasubi Church of Uganda Primary School way back during the CA times. I joined Uganda Young Democrats in the second generation after the Dr. Lurume's first generation of UID, the Mabikes. I was part of the second generation, and I was the spokesperson of the Uganda Young Democrats under the leadership of Susan Abo by then. Then I was the students leader for Uganda Young Democrats until I joined Dr. Aggrey Kiyingi. I joined Dr. Kiyingi purposely because I wanted to remove Mr. Museveni, period. I didn't want to overstay in the opposition. You all much well know that Dr. Aggrey Kiyingi was standing in the true path of changing this country. In fact, if Dr. Kiyingi or Dr. Besigye had been in this race, I wouldn't have contested, because they are the only 2 people who had solutions to changing this government, who were focused on removing Mr. Museveni and with realistic solutions. We have done enough politicking, and it is now time to remove Mr. Museveni. That is why I also argue my fellow candidates, fellow contestants, if they are really genuinely looking at removing Mr. Museveni first, to join me, and we remove Mr. Museveni. We shall sort other issues regarding parties and our aspirations after removing Mr. Museveni after 15th January. So I'm here, dear Ugandans, presenting myself as your next president come 2026. My campaign was derailed. As you know, Dr. Chiyingi, he was living miles away from Uganda, but he was the most feared man. Mr. Museveni feared Dr. Chiyingi more than opposition leaders sleeping in Kampala and Wakiso. You know that.
It's a debate, Mr. Frank Bulira. Your time is up, 4 minutes. But since you want to remove Mr. Museveni, then I ask that you move from your seat and come sit next to these two gentlemen, in between these two gentlemen who have also rightly said that they're doing the same thing. Please stand up and come and sit in between the general and the one who's promising a new Uganda.
Though I'm number one,
It is okay. We shall decide on 15th. Thank you very much. Each candidate being reminded you have 4 minutes for your introduction. And now we move to the second candidate, Candidate Joseph Mabirizi.
Good evening once again. My name is Elton Joseph Mabirizi Salongo from Conservative Party, the party which has outlived generations. In CP, we have the uniqueness that we stand for. Number one, it's about the governance, which requires fabrication to come up with something new which can fit in the generation we live in. We stand for regional governments, and when we talk about regional governments, many people will ask, what do you mean exactly? We have 16 regions of Uganda, and those 16 regions must have small governments where they share power with the central government. Uganda is like a sinking boat in an ocean. Without coming up with regional governments, we would have done nothing, even if we elect any other leader. So regional governments, this is where power is shared, resources, responsibilities are shared with the central government. And when you come up with such a government, you would have dealt away with so many problems of Uganda that we are facing today. For example, the problem we are facing where all authority belongs to one person, where security is just in central government, where taxes are collected and just go into a small group of people to govern that. So there is a great need to institute regional governments to ease service delivery, at the same time creating a lot of jobs, which is a problem that we are facing today, but also working on the system of education that we are having in Uganda, which does not help parents It doesn't help the graduates, the learners. It doesn't help even the government. The first beneficiary of the citizens or the graduates, it is the government. But when they finish, you find that there are no jobs, which has created a lot of dependence. People who are working are very few, and many depend on others. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that, sir. On to you, Mr. Mafabi.
My name is Nathan Nandala Mafabi. I came in this election. I come from Forum for Democratic Change. Our theme is fixing the economy and the money in our pockets. The current problem in Uganda is three-phased: corruption, that is greed, poverty, injustice. I have worked in the whole country. You discover poor mothers, poor fathers, who are selling tomatoes, oranges. They cannot even make enough to feed their families. Our children go to school. Out of 10 children who join primary school, only 2 reach P7. That means there's 80% dropout. You go to the health center, they will refer you, go out for medical attention, go and buy medicine, go for a scan, and those are the main things which bring us in this election. But what's the problem? We have been around for 40 years. We have been talking about peace, 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 and I don't think Ugandans can now eat peace because the peace is there. What we need is people to have jobs, and when they have jobs, they will earn a living. We look forward to investing in agriculture. We look forward to investing in education. We look forward to investing in health sector. We look forward to investing in infrastructure. I come with experience because I have studied all those. I come with experience in economy, in accounting, in taxation, in knowing poverty, how it's painful. I have worked. I'm fortunate you mentioned that only maybe you are there, but I was in Ministry of Finance. I worked for World Bank, and we have advised many governments, and have come out of poverty. So I am coming here with experience to help Uganda to move forward. I come as an employee. I want to be a servant to serve you with all my energy to ensure that people of Uganda can have the 3 meals which are designated in our lives. I am aware that we are 8 candidates, but each of us has his own manifesto. Our manifesto is very clear. It is spelling out what is supposed to be done. We want to create jobs. 60% of the youth are unemployed. 84 people live on 14 people. This is the danger, and this is the biggest insecurity we are having in our country. You get people are walking on the street from morning to evening, looking for what to do, what to eat, and this is causing a lot of problems in our country. In fact, the next time bomb is from the unemployment of the youth. Currently, our economy is structured in such a way that the service sector, which is contributing about 50%, is externalized. That's the telecom, that is the financial sector, and even the industrial part is belonging to the foreigners. Local Ugandans themselves, who live on agrarian economy, which contributes almost 80% of our livelihood, are only having a 23.8 GDP contribution, meaning that our people are living as slaves in their country. This is what we need to resolve, and it's urgent, and it needs somebody with experience in that area. In my life, I have been in Parliament for 25 years. I have been there advocating for justice. I've been advocating for, because there's a lot of social injustice, I have been advocating for this issue to do with poverty alleviations. Every election, we see a different theme that they are doing. In 1996, they brought in Tandikwa. In 2001, they brought Kurembeka. In 2006, they brought Bondaba Gagare. In 2011, they brought Prosperity for All. In 2016, they brought Emioga. In 2021, they brought Operation North Question. Now, 2026 PDM. If these were really aiming to remove poverty, and they have not done, it means there's total failure in the government. Our government lacks transparency in management, and corruption is at the theme.
Thank you for your submission, sir. Let's move on to candidate Robert Juggling.
Thank you very much, dear distinguished moderators, honorable colleagues with whom I'm running for the noble responsibility of leading our nation, ladies and gentlemen present here, and those watching us from afar. I am humbled to be here contesting to lead our country, and it's great pleasure and honor to be representing the common people of our country. As a person who comes from the ghetto and rose to represent the nation at the highest level, I cannot take any further pride than that. But also, I am aware that we are in a nation that is at crossroads. We had independence 63 years ago, and 40 of those years have been covered by one man who has reduced our country to a failed state. Absolutely, it is clear to all and sundry that this nation, which is primarily young, has clearly made a decision, only that they have been stifled. I am aware that I will be taking over a nation where 1.5 babies are born every year, taking over a nation where almost half of the budget goes to servicing debts. I'm aware that I'm taking over a nation that is deeply divided, but committed and ready to unite our country, which we've already started doing. What we promise is a new Uganda which is going to reset. Our country has completely been messed, and it needs to start afresh. Every institution has been captured, and we intend to start again in a new Uganda where people are going to be servants, where citizens of Uganda should take over power to decide the destiny of their lives. As we stand right now, the people of Uganda don't have a vote, they don't have a voice, and they don't have power over their nation. The state has been captured completely, and we hope to liberate not just the citizens, but also those that are leading the country. On a downside, I had really hoped to meet General Museveni here, so I could publicly face him and hear what more lies he has to tell us after 40 years. To hear from him straight the gains he's protecting. Is he protecting the potholes? Is he protecting the rotten hospitals? Is he protecting the broken down schools, the broken down infrastructure? Is he protecting his power and right to torture citizens? I had always wanted to hear that, not privately but publicly from General Museveni. Anyway, it's all right that he's not here, because he's in the past and we are discussing the future of our country. So I'm very glad, and I hope to share ideas and to teach and learn from these our colleagues. But of course, I must assert it that the people of Uganda, especially the young generation, the new generation that I largely represent, is committed to changing their country and to taking back the right to determine their destiny. I am ready and committed to lead the charge to change Uganda, so help us the Almighty God.
Thank you.
And the final candidate for the evening, with your introduction and why Uganda should believe in your cause.
Thank you, dear moderators. Let me take this opportunity again to thank all Ugandan citizens who are seated in this room and those who are watching us. I'm called Gregory Mugisha Muntu Oyera. I hold the flag for Alliance for National Transformation, whose mantra is values-driven leadership. We entered this race very well knowing the state of our country. For 63 years, we've been in a vicious cycle. General Museveni being the 9th president, regime after regime, promises are made, promises are never fulfilled. And we reached a point where we believe that there must be something up there that causes leaders to get up there in spite of the promises that they do make. What makes them drunk to a point where They lose direction. They don't fulfill promises. They trample on citizens. And unfortunately, at this point in time, we have not even had the experience where one leader hands over power to another. That's sad. Some of us had hoped that we would see the breaking out of that vicious cycle. Where we're heading, we are not so sure whether that will be or not. We keep on struggling. We hope that we'll see that at some point. We've been moving around the country now for about 2 months. The state of our people is quite frightening. Joblessness, the levels of joblessness of the youth, the depth of poverty that you read on the faces of the people, and even what they express. The lack of drugs in hospitals, government hospitals, and very well knowing that there are those who can't afford to go to private hospitals, which means they can't afford the bills, which means that most people just go home to die. National level, but even at the local government level, because they have so far gone through 74 districts. And I made it a point to ask everywhere we go whether they are transparent systems. And I've got a response that you can do an interview, and when you succeed or you are the best, that you can get a job unless you know someone, unless you pay a bribe. That's quite frightening, that government jobs can be sold. So the people out there who still believe that General Museveni should continue, I've been urging them on the campaign trail that considering that state of affairs and the frightening levels of corruption in this country, we lose 10 trillion Uganda shillings, that's about 2.7 billion United States dollars every year, that they should reconsider. General Museveni should just simply be retired peacefully on 15th of January. And I've been urging them to look amongst the 7 of us and select one who can lead this country from the vicious circle in which it is, the mess in which who can lead this country from the vicious circle in which it is, the mess at which we are. Also considering the levels of the frightening levels of debt, that they look for a capable person, and I always project myself.
All right.
Because of
Thank you so much, Mugisha. 5 candidates. We do also have 5 themes for the presidential debate. Please be reminded we are streaming across our social media platforms on Facebook as well as X, as well as TikTok. So share the link with the rest of Uganda. Equally on our website, www.ntv.co.ug, we are having the presidential debate live on NTV as well as Spark TV. As we start off, theme number 1, youth unemployment and the jobs, or the economic reset. I'm going to start with candidate Frank Mulira. Just to shape the narrative, candidate, Uganda has a very young population, as according to the UPO statistics from the population census having been conducted in 2024, more than 73% of citizens being under the age of 30, including about 14 million people aged between 15 and 30, marking about 31%. And then you look at the latest labor data also showing us that only about 37% of these young people are actually employed and working. About 16% of them are choosing or are able to stay in school, and roughly 40 to 42% are neither in employment, we cannot trust them in education, neither can we pin them in training. Youth unemployment is standing currently about 700,000 people do enter the labor market, but only about 34% of that figure is actually absorbed in jobs. Candidate Frank Bulira, given these realities, what concrete measures beyond the national employment strategy, beyond the national development plan 4 that we're currently running as a country, will you implement in your first 3 years? 1, to raise job absorption well above 34%. 2, cut the youth NEET rate by at least 10%. And then 3, to ensure that the additional jobs being created are decent, they are formal, and are creating opportunities rather than incurring a lot of pressure on the informal sector.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, surely poverty is everywhere, but our case as Uganda is so worrying. Just as I said, we can speak a lot, but the biggest problem of Uganda is Mr. Museveni and the system of governance. Those are the two biggest problems, bringing about youth unemployment, growing at the fastest rate, and people losing hope in their country and in the future. As the Revolutionary People's Party, under the new federal arrangement, remember, after 15th January next year, in the next 2 weeks, Uganda will be announced as the new Federal Democratic Republic, governed under the 16 federal states, taking charge of their wealth. The Revolutionary People's Party is going to take the jobs closer to the people, where they stay. Gone are the days when everyone has to come to Kampala looking for jobs. People going to kneel before Mr. Museveni to get survival, including ministers, public servants. You have to meet Mr. Museveni in order to survive, in order for your child to be given a bursary. The federal arrangement is going to take back the jobs in the areas, the 16 proposed federal states making up Uganda. First of all, we are going to introduce the Federal Economic Empowerment Program. The Federal Economic Empowerment Program is going to replace these failed Bonabagagawales, parish development models, which are just enriching NRM cadres and RDCs, swindling taxpayers' money, the Operation Welfare Creations, just helping soldiers to build more mansions and build arcades. They are all going to be scrapped, and the Federal Economic Empowerment Program is going to look at the Ugandans in Sebei are going to be placed in the cement factories, where you even have truck drivers who are Chinese, in Kaserem, in Kapchora.
Mr. Bulira, can you name one country that's operating a federal system?
UAE, German.
Which ones of those are over just under 63 years?
God said about UAE and its background. There was a time when Uganda was far ahead of UAE. You remember that one time Idi Amin Dada gave food aid to UAE when the current president was the father of the current Sheikh Al Maktoum. He gave UAE food aid, plus the little soil UAE has. It was taken from here and mixed with the sand. UAE, every tree in UAE and grass has to be irrigated in order to live for a day.
I worry,
but it is the capital city of the world right now. Uganda would be so far better if we had gone federal.
I worry you might not know that much about federalism, because the best example,
according to you,
the United States of America, which is operating on a federal system. From the federal system, you go down to the state system. Then from the state system, you go down to municipals. So I worry that you want to implement something that you're not very savvy with.
That is according to you?
No, this is the biggest economy in the world. So if you're to give an example, at least let's go with one that has...
I give the example of UAE because it's the country I know most. The king of Dubai is my good friend Sheikh Al Maktoum, and the president of UAE, Sheikh Nayan. So it is a live example. My second home is in UAE. I've admired a lot from UAE under their arrangement. whereby you don't need to go to Sharjah when you are in Abu Dhabi to get a service. Everything is in a different is well catered for in a particular federal state or province. Provinces are competing. When Abu Dhabi builds a big skyscraper, Dubai will bring Burj Khalifa. When Al Alain does this, in the end, the country ends up developing. In Nigeria, you don't need to go to, if you are in Lagos, you are contented. You don't need to go to Abuja. You don't need to go to Kumasi. So,
Kumasi is in Ghana, but thank you. You have run out of time. Thank you, Mr. Bulira. As you can imagine, it is going to be a very heated conversation, and if I do jump in, my credentials might permit me to do that. On to the next candidate. Let's look at Mr. Joseph Mavidizi. Quick question, Mr. Mavidizi. Are you familiar with the Malabo Declaration? Could you kindly switch on your mic? Are you familiar with the Malabo Declaration?
So many declarations has been done.
That is a yes or no question,
so
sir.
Which one do you mean exactly?
Malabo Declaration, Africa Union. Are you familiar with the Abuja Declaration?
Which one in particular? Because several of them. There are several which has been done.
I wouldn't want to eat into your time.
Are you talking about the climate one? Are you talking about which one are you talking about?
Okay, let's talk about agriculture. A declaration was made where 10% of revenues going through this fiscal plan when it comes to spending of any nation that is privy to the African Union spends 10% of their revenue on agriculture. As you can imagine, Uganda does not do that. That being said, what would you do in your first few months as president of Uganda to fix that?
We have a very big plan about agriculture infrastructure, where we want to encourage much of small-scale industry, where people can use simple machines in agriculture.
Like hoes?
When I talk about simple machines, I know even a hoe falls under that, but there are other machines which are not big tractors, and those ones which are operated just with small engines. There are those ones which are operated manually. They just push them. So there are so many. So I'm not talking about only a hoe.
I'm very confused. Are we talking about combine harvesters? Are we talking John Deere? Are we talking, I'm very confused. Going back to plowing with oxen, which one is it? Give me something concrete.
They are tractors, but now I'm talking about the simple machines which use these simple engines, which are affordable. They don't consume a lot of fuel, and they are being used in Malaysia. So you can visit Malaysia, because for me that's where I saw them. So that's what I'm talking about, that once we trade that and bring it into our nation, we would have helped a lot in agriculture.
But you're addressing something different, because what this declaration say is to have 10% of your GDP.
I understand your question. Give me time to answer.
Please go ahead.
If you want me to answer your way, then it's something else.
Please proceed.
I have my way, and I can pass either way to answer you. So you want me to give the answer you have? Huh? I have my own answer. So, I told the person who contacted me that let me hope you are taking me into a debate, not something like questioning you. Then you answer this, someone asks another question to take you off. So, what I was saying, there is a need to get that into what I was saying, there is a need to get that into that modernization agriculture, where we need to import simple machines to empower agriculture sector from the regions. And once you've empowered all the regions, having shared the power, responsibility, where the regions, they are also responsible for collecting taxes, and after collection of taxes, they only give 40% to the central government. Then 60% remains in the region. So the regional governments, they practice what fits their region according to agriculture. So it will be the responsibility of the regions sitting and deciding even what the declaration aimed at may be less. Each region will decide according to the need of that region. That's what we call shared power. It's not about only one person dictating that things should move in this direction or the other direction. That will be the responsibility of the regional governments.
Makes sense. Thank you.
All right, as we do go on, be reminded that our first theme of the night is youth unemployment and economic reset. This is where we'd like to turn to Honorable Robert Chagoranyi Sentamu, the one who has quite a large youth following. These are young boys and girls who need technical skills that are primarily scarce in our country right now. We look to training, we look to education, vocational education, and we also look to tertiary education that is still by and large weak. And also the digital economy is leaving so many people behind. From what you have seen in the many days you have been all over this country, if you were to become president, what immediate reforms will you use to drive an overhaul in TVET, and then also build real digital skills and ensure that the young person you have been meeting on this campaign trail is actually not locked out of the future?
Thank you very much. And I'm glad you mentioned that indeed we've been traveling all over the country. For me, this is more realistic than idealistic. These are not just statistics, these are realities. These are people. We've been there, and in every urban town we've reached, you've seen hundreds of young people that show up, that are desperate, they're strong, they're talented, they want to work, but these are young people that have been failed by a system. It should be noted that Uganda is ranked the most entrepreneurial country in Africa. However, the young people are being failed because 70% of the small businesses that are started do not live to complete one full year. They are failed because of high taxes. They are failed because of the cost of money, high interest rates. They are failed because of high electricity rates. They are failed because of high transportation, and this comes because of the broken down transport infrastructure. As a national unity platform in a new Uganda, we have a plan of establishing 10 million jobs. From here, we're going to do this by leveraging the tourism sector. As you know, Uganda is immensely gifted. We're going to leverage the manufacturing sector, and most importantly, the creative industry. Now, having come from the creative industry, I know the potential of the creative industry. Uganda is equally as talented as Nigeria, or even more talented. But looking at the Nigeria's creative industry, it is almost outcompeting the oil industry. In fact, they call it the new oil because it is largely seen as even more engaging and more incorporating of young people, of the ordinary citizen, than the oil sector. Now, our plan is as follows. First, we want to empower and support the small, medium enterprises and the cottage industries. Now, for the benefit of our voters out there, cottage industries are the small scale industries, mainly in homesteads that are majoring in production. These, we must understand, looking at the growing economies of the world, these have been the unsung heroes of these growing economies. China, India, Brazil, name it. So, looking at these examples, we think it can be a benefit in Uganda. I'm looking at areas, especially these that are near borders, like Arua, like Chisoro, like Kabale. If they are supported, they could boost even production, and they could even boost export, looking at production of textiles.
When you say supported, what does that mean?
Supported means cutting down, reducing the cost of doing business, reducing the power costs, reducing the cost of money, reducing the interest rates, investing in transport infrastructure. This would make it easier for them and it would boost them. Also, it's important to mention that in this line, we want to boost production. In our manifesto, we presented our school feeding program where the government is going to be feeding children at school. Now, the people that are going to be supplying these foodstuffs are going to be the ordinary citizens, and in the new Uganda, the government will work with the parent teachers associations, the PTA, to ensure that they identify not only the most vulnerable, but also the most trusted and competent suppliers, the eggs, the wheat, the rice, the flour, to feed the children. This way, we're going to be able to support even the small producers, the women, and the ordinary people out there. We believe that this is not only going to boost education, but it's going to help in youth unemployment. We also intend to modernize our skills development.
Your time is spent, but I'm going to allow you a minute. You have made recognition of manufacturing and tourism. These are high level in terms of strategic for any presidential candidate. Leaders have been describing it as Uganda's economic growth. However, there's one structural problem that still hinders both sectors right now, and that is unreliable power supply and high electricity costs. What's your solution?
Well, the high electricity costs can be renegotiated. As government, we can go as far as renegotiating with Bujagali to ensure that the power comes down, because that is what is going to help the productivity. There's one thing, if you allow me, also talk about, that's the exploitation. The current government prides in youth employment, where mainly the industries that are owned by foreigners actually exploit the citizens to an extent that young Ugandans are paid as low as 3,500 shillings a day. Now, I was in Parliament in 2019 and we passed the minimum wage bill. Unfortunately, General Museveni refused to sign it. Now, we are going to reintroduce it in a new Uganda, and I will sign it because I will be president.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Let's move on to candidate Nandala Mafabi. I've been going through your manifesto, which is quite fascinating. There's something that you mentioned, cooperative-led agro-industrialization. You're familiar with that. And here you do target tea fertilizers at 30%. Explain to me how this sizzles into working on the youth unemployment problem in the country.
Thank you so much. First of all, Uganda is an agricultural country, so it's an agrarian economy. And the youth we have currently, if I give you an example, most of them are living in schools, or they have dropped out of school, but they don't have land. They cannot be able to go on the land to till it. But agriculture employs about 80% of Ugandans. Now, as a government, which should be serious government, should ensure that Ugandan citizens are employed. We're looking at skilling the youth, and you skill them in what you have. For example, we skill them in agriculture, we skill them in construction, we skill them even in ICT. Now, if you skill them in agriculture, that means you are trying to modernize agriculture. And if you're going to modernize agriculture, this youth will be employed in those sectors. I can tell you agriculture can go ahead to employ the biggest number of people. What do you do there? You produce what we call agro-processing. And if you go for agro-processing, those are industries and related industries. And when you bring agro-processing, the youth who have studied or who have not even unskilled ones, but you can skill them, will go and work in agro-processing. And that's creating jobs. And I can assure you the biggest now where we can create jobs currently is in agro-processing, in the agriculture. And Uganda has an advantage. As I said, God has given us the best weather. You can grow anything. Now, for example, here we used to have 4 cash crops. And the cash crop meant where we used to get cash. That was coffee, cotton, tea, and tobacco. And the cotton you are raising, it is called, the cotton is called white gold. Now, what has happened? You talked about tea. The tea is called magnetic money. Now, the tea, you see, right now as we speak, the soils which have been growing tea have been taken to do other things. But why we're talking about fertilizers, you need to use that land to grow more tea. And currently, even the tea which they are growing, there's a lot of debt which they have not paid farmers. And the farmers are getting discouraged. Good government should not make farmers get discouraged. What should be there should be a mechanism whereby if there's overproduction, you have stores, that is called silos. You must be the one, be the catalyst leading the marketing processes. You must be the one even trying to call incubator industries, whereby you can create an industry and hand over. I'll give an example. I didn't fear. Total Uganda, which was, I think, an international policy, they came with a policy of saying younger dealers. What they did, they would give a young man or young lady a petrol station to run, but they would give him fuel to run that petrol station. They would be deducting the margins, but leaving him or some money. Give him a period of about 3 years. They say you must exit, so that they bring another new dealer. And the purpose was to train them how to manage business. Many of them got out and have built their own petrol station. They're up there. If government of Uganda did the same, to do incubation like that, whereby we pattern, even with the private sector. Another example I can give you in the next way. If a company employs disabled people, it gets the tax deductions from all this tax. If government of Uganda wants the youth to be employed, they will be employed. How? You go and say you employ this youth in agriculture, you will have the following. 1, tax exemption or reduced tax. 2, you will be given some facilities because the youth will be working and earning a living. The tax deduction and what you are giving is creating the young man or young lady to be employed. I can tell you, agriculture is one of the places we should invest more money, whereby we can have our youth employed. You talked about.
I know you're running out of time. I just want you to touch on this, right? Having worked for the World Bank, Rwanda does a very good job in Nyungwe with the tea processing. How would you use that example to address that? I just want you to help us on that. That's actually a positive, because I'm listening to a lot of sense here.
Come again?
Rwanda is growing a lot of tea in their Nyungwe plantations. And you, having worked in the World Bank, I know you use a lot of case studies. How would you use some of their examples with your experience to make the tea plantations better here?
Are you aware the Rwanda copied our proposal, which was made by Uganda?
This is why I want you to...
So I'm trying to say that what Uganda is very good at writing proposals, but not good at implementing them. I am trying to tell you that this what I'm raising can be done. Tea can generate money, tea can generate jobs. Because I'm saying that when we, first of all, the tea farmers will get money. The processors will get money. The transporters will get money. What I'm trying to say that if our target is to invest in tea, which we are putting in our manifesto, those tea growing areas will be we have talked about subsidizing fertilizers, putting, you see factories, when you're trying to do a factory, you lead. Because a person going to the bank to borrow money is more expensive. But the government can put a factory and hand it over and tell these people after a particular time, you will have paid the factory for and go away. Currently in our country, I will give an example. There's a gentleman who was involved in the tea industry. What he did, even borrowed money from a money lender. You know Uganda now is being led by money lenders. What happened, the cost became high. He took my minutes. Please.
Kindly,
He took my minutes. Listen to me. So, when he could not pay, of course, there was a lot of loss. Our country has been done in such a way that cost of capital is too high. And because even the reason why cost of capital is high is because of government. The biggest borrower is government. So it crowds private credit. And so when someone goes to the commercial bank to borrow, they will say, no money, or they give you at an expense, maybe with more conditions. Now what I'm trying to say, in the tea sector, if me become the president, I will tell you that it will be a deliberate effort to put industries, to put processes, so that credit, which should have been somebody going there, will be given by government beyond leading it, so that we create jobs in that sector. Fertilizers will be given on subsidies. And I can assure you the tea sector is the best now, because initially we had 4 of them, 4 ranking in. Tea can even overtake coffee. But of course, coffee is still high. In the current situation now, it is coffee followed by tea. Now we're getting a lot of money from tea, but also the marketing process are being driven wrongly. Government should lead in this process. I can assure you, I believe tea will create jobs and will make our youth be employed.
All right, thank you so much. Staying matters agriculture, our national anthem does pride in our agriculture backbone, good climate and fertile soils. Gregory Mugisha Muntu, many households are remaining in the subsistence economy right now as we speak, mostly in subsistence agriculture. You do have the standing current government prioritizing agro-industrialization, manufacturing with the incumbent, ensuring that there's a spread out of business and investment parks across the country. But there's also the element of tourism, construction, trade that are low-hanging fruits. Oil and gas, we've been promised that next year it should be bearing us some fruits. There's also works and transport. All these to acknowledge that there's a high failure rate of youth-owned businesses without systematic support in those particular sectors. How do you intend to actually ensure that there's policies, that there's public investment, that there's procurement that is geared towards ensuring that the young people's uptake into these sectors is one that will help them leapfrog from the statistics we know of?
The measure of development of any country must be reflected in the development of the people first and foremost. In Uganda, where 70% of the population is in agriculture, fisheries and crop as well as the dairy industry, you have to focus to lift those people from the levels at which they are. And one of the things which is absolutely sad right now is that there was a total breakdown of extension services. And also, credit is very expensive. Other than PDM, which is touted all over the place, which is only 1 million, it cannot help farmers who want to invest. One, raising money for quality seeds, buying fertilizer in areas where you find that the soils have got depleted, and then buying pesticides for spraying of crops, and also the use of machinery, either tractors or ox plows. That requires capital, and most of these peasants don't have access to capital, and our cooperative unions were literally broken down. It is very amazing that there is actually one fund. It is small, it's not big, the Agricultural Credit Facility, which is given by Bank of Uganda through commercial banks. In the 74 districts where I've gone, I have asked in about 8. It's only in one district of Nwoya where only 2 people raised their hands who were aware of such existence of such a fund. Now you can imagine, this is an agricultural country. There is a regime which touts there is a regime which touts PBM, which is over 1 million, and yet the fund which people are not aware of it at all. And it's at 12% per year. Farmers cannot survive on borrowing from commercial banks or borrowing from SACCOs at 30%, 35% and above. Simply can't happen. And therefore we propose to increase agricultural credit and expand it and sensitize people, and also ensure that we either direct or work with the private sector to establish the higher services in the areas where they're still on about 1 acre, 2 acres. That's a totally different approach that will be used. And there also needs to be cheap credit in terms of low interest rate, long-term repayment period for agro-processing. Because agro-processing, once you establish industries successfully and expand them, they become a market for those who are in subsistence farming. And also in the area of tourism, low-hanging fruit. But Uganda is one of the countries in the region which doesn't advertise Uganda or market Uganda. I think the countries which aggressively market the countries is Tanzania, Kenya, and Rwanda. Uganda has entries about 1.2 million tourists who come in. Kenya, Tanzania has about 2.5. If Uganda was able to advertise itself, considering the beauty of this country and so many opportunities that there are in terms of tourism, and increase that rate from 1.2 to possibly about 5 million people, the employment and the levels of opportunity that there would be, those who would be expanding the beds in the country, those who would invest into cottage industries, because that would also be a market for agriculture. And those who are agro-processing, if you get like 4 million tourists coming into this country, a great market for those, someone who is producing yogurt, someone who is growing carrots and cabbages, someone who is packing rice, someone who is all nature of things. Uganda has not, I think they are sleeping on the job when it comes to tourism. In that regard, this regime, it would be our intention to ensure that we fully exploit the area of tourism, because it's not called a low-hanging fruit for nothing, because investment doesn't take a long time. Marketing itself, once you have skilled advertising, Ugandans, there are so many Ugandans who are skilled in marketing, we can increase the tourist entries significantly in a 5 years' time, and it will be a very big area for employment of the youth.
In your ANT manifesto 2026-2031, you are also very big about monitoring and evaluation of the manifesto you would have put out should you become president come 2026. What would be the indicators of success for the things that you have mentioned, particularly increasing the agriculture credit and also creating markets beyond our borders?
One of the things that we really want to target and aggressively pursue is the area of corruption. We consider it as public enemy number one, because we lose 10 trillion Uganda shillings. That's about 2.7 billion United States dollars. And if you tackle first and foremost grand corruption, you know, where there are contracts for roads, contracts for water, contracts for energy facilities, where there are hundreds of millions of dollars which are lost, and you crack down, because we in our own party, we believe that if we dedicate effort in a span of 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you can reduce the loss through corruption of 2.5 billion. You can save about 70-80% of that. Reinvest it into the sectors which are needed: education, health, and also areas like I've already talked about, like in tourism. One, education, it may take a little bit of time to bear the results, but it's the highest form of wealth for any country that wants to develop. Because we are clearly aware that even countries which have nothing, not even one single mineral, when they invested in education, high quality education, skilling their labor force, and of course with good political management of those systems in such countries, some of them have developed. Example we keep giving is Japan. Now consider here, if you invest in good education, invest in having a healthy workforce, and also invest in agriculture, having food security, and also having citizens who are well fed. When you have those, plus the mineral potential which we have, and good political management, the sky is the limit for this country.
And the sky is the limit for your time. Thank you so much, Gregory Mugisha Muntu. We're going to take a short break. As we do so, please be reminded the hashtag that we are running with is NTV Presidential Debate 2025. And we are running on NTV as well as Spark TV, and we are streaming live across the social media platforms, mainly X as well as TikTok and Facebook and our website. Now, there is a poll that is
Farm Business Uganda ekitongole ky'abalimi n'abalunzi bano bawa abalimi n'abalunzi amagezi agabayamba okwekulankulanya n'okwenyumiriza mu bye bakola. Gwe omulunzi w'enkoko omuli eza broilers, crailers, saso, layers ne loko, jangu ofuna amagezi ku ngeri eyo zirabiriramu olyoka ofuna amagoba. Ate bwe kituuka ku byennyanja basima ebidiba n'okusomesa ku nnunda ennungi ey'ebyennyanja omuli empuuta, emali, engege. Ate tebakoma okwo, bakuyigiriza n'okutabula emmere y'ebyennyanja okusinzira ku stage ze biba biriko. Omulunzi w'ente, embuzi, endiga, obumyu nawe batuukirira ofuna amagezi. Aba Farm Business Uganda bakowola naawe alunda embizzi okubeetanira anti bakufunira breed z'embizzi ennungi ezikula amangu omuli Landrace, Large White, Hampshire, kuteeka ne Cambrough. Gwe omulimi n'omulunzi lekera kwemulugunya, beekwate tojja kwejjusa. Bakufunira ensigo kw'oteeka n'okusomesa ku ndima y'omulembe ekwatagana n'ebibala omuli emicungwa, emiyembe, amapaapaali, obutunda n'ebirala bingi. Gwe omulimi wa vanilla naawe teweegayaalirira anti aba Farm Business Uganda webali okuyamba. Gwe omulimi w'ebitooke naawe jangu obeebuuzeeko ku butya bw'osimba ebitooke ne bitakuwa kiwuka ate ne bibala bulungi. Funa amagezi ku kika ky'emiti egikula amangu egigumira embeera y'obudde omuli emisizi, peyini, kalitunsi, emivule n'ebika by'emiti ebirala bingi. Aba Farm Business Uganda bakuyambako okufuna ebigimusa ebirungi eby'omulembe okuli eby'omuttaka n'okufuuyira n'amadagala ag'enjawulo agayamba ebirime byo okukula obulungi nga tebirumbibwa biwuka. Ebirime omuli muwogo, soya, kasooli, lumonde, kabeji, ensujju, watermelon, ennyaanya, obutiko, ebijanjaalo n'ebirime ebirala bingi. Ebintu bino byonna bakuwa amagezi ku byo okossaako n'okubikufunira. Okumanya ebisinga osobola okubirako aba Farm Business Uganda ku 0753 19 95 12 oba 0761480004. osobola n'obafunira ku WhatsApp ku 0752 83 84 89. Farm Business Uganda, farmer to farmer, mulimi ku mulimi.